this together.
All right, we decided to show you the air tool. It's going to be kind of loud, but we'll show you how it works. See how easy that came off?
Now, if you're fortunate enough to have an air compressor and an air hammer, if you can get yourself one of these, maybe from the auto parts store, it makes things so much easier. But like you said, you could do this with the other tools that you could do by hand. Our goal here is actually to show you how to do things with more of your common tools and things you're going to be able to find easier. We just happen to have some tools that make our job super easy sometimes. So we're gonna use those, but as much as we can, we'll show you how to do stuff by hand without using power tools. And you see how this
Freaking dust blowing everywhere.
Yeah, you can see how the fan spins and the nut spins with it, and the pulley stays in place. That was our goal here. So now that we have this pretty much completely loose, I'm going to take the belt off, and then I'll be able to hold the pulley and get the fan off. Because it looks like we're going to need to pull the fan off of the front of the water pump in front of the pulley, and then we're probably going to have to try to sneak it out up here somewhere where the belt's in the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our 1/2-inch ratchet. The longer handle, the better. But you could do it with just a standard size one. You get that in the hole there.
Remember, just below the AC compressor is your tensioner on this vehicle.
And then what you need to do is you need to see which way the belt's going to turn. You want it to relieve the tension. So in this case, we're going to pull it here. That will relieve our tension off our belt. And then gently let the tension back off of the belt tensioner. Don't let it slam or it'll break. And that'll be an additional cost. We're going to remove this belt. But anytime you take a belt off of a car, you need to make sure that you can either find a sticker underneath the hood somewhere that shows the belt routing. We'll show you exactly how to run the belt around which components, like this one shows with or without. What is that?
It's the second alternator.
Secondary alternator. Some will show with or without. Air conditioning. If you don't have that sticker or can't find it, then just grab yourself a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, and before you take it loose, just make a drawing of it.
Or you can take a picture with your phone of how the belt looks.
That's another idea. Okay, now that we have that loose, let's see if we can get the fan out, because it looks like the shroud is going to be in the way. If not, we're going to have to pull it all out in one unit. So I can hold the pulley. Give this a spin. Be real careful when this gets to, when you're taking this off. Do it a little at a time. If you drop this, you could puncture the radiator, and that's an extremely expensive repair if you have to do that.
Now what you're seeing in the camera, that's not bugs. That's, we live in the desert and it's all dust and dirt floating around.
Okay.
It's all stuck to the fan.
Looks like we're going to have to take this out in one piece, or together. So we have an 8mm here, and on the other side here, somewhere, right there. You take those loose, this plastic piece will lean forward and pull up. We'll try to get it around this hose. If not, we'll take the hose off, and it'll all come out.
And we'll be right back.
Okay, we're back, and what we did, we decided to go ahead and just take the upper radiator hose off, because it's going to make things easier. Just fold this out of the way. We've already taken our two 8mm out. We pulled the shroud back towards the engine. We're experienced technicians, so we can get this out without doing too much damage. But a good idea would be, before you take the fan off, you could loosen the shroud. Take a piece of cardboard between the shroud and the radiator. This will help prevent any damage to the radiator. So we're going to do this to show you. Slide this down in here, and as you can see, if you happen to bump anything against here, The cardboard will help protect the radiator from damage. So now that we have this loose, we're going to remove these components here. So we're going to grab a hold of the fan the best you can. Get it up around that. And the bottom of the shroud is actually just it's in two slots. So we'll just pull up that, the one on that side, and then you just gotta manipulate it and get it out of here. We're not going to go to a break. So sometimes it's good to watch us struggle, so you don't think that everything is super easy, and understand that it does take some work sometimes to get things out. There we go. It's a tight fit, but we did it. You've seen how much I had to move everything around. So that's a good reason why we have the cardboard in there. Now we can get the fan and the clutch. This is the fan blade. This is your mechanical fan clutch. They're two separate pieces. They're bolted together. But we're not replacing any of these, so we don't need to separate them. Let me just get the shroud out of the way. That's this. Now what we could do, now we can move our cardboard. And you can get a real good shot. We'll show you how these bearings wiggle, are worn out. Here's the pulley. This is your water pump here. The pulley is bolted onto the front of the water pump. Like this. Bolts on here. This is the new one. If you see this pulley here, it does not move at all. It just turns. This one, you can see it wiggle. The bolts aren't loose. If you watch the threaded portion here, you'll see that move. And that's no good.
Pretty loose.
So what we need to do now is we're going to grab a 10 millimeter here. 10 millimeter socket. You can use a socket or a wrench. What you're probably going to need to do is use both so that you can hold one to break the other bolts loose. Okay, now we're going to break these bolts loose. We're going to put a ratchet and our socket on this one here. Then we're going to use our wrench to hold. We'll try this one, see how this works. Just hold it real tight. That's going to give you your leverage, and just, oh wow, that one don't want to break loose. They're going to be tight. You just have to work at it. You may need a longer wrench. Oh, all right, there's one. And then just go around and do that with all of them. We have another idea that will work because the bolts are going to be loose. Get yourself a good sized screwdriver. You can actually wedge the screwdriver between a couple of the bolts like this. And that will hold it in place. And break it loose. So there's one. Those two are loose. All right, so we're going to go ahead and break these loose. Take the pulley off. It'll just come right off. Then we'll be back to show you the next step in removing the water pump, because that'll be the next thing we get ready to do.